But the reason we're here tonight is to hear from two experts, one legal, one hydrogeologic. Our legal expert, many of you know, is Tom Nasco. Probably, if not the most prominent, certainly one of the most prominent and important environmental lawyers in the state, and indeed this part of the country. And we're very pleased that Tom is representing us. And he's here tonight to explain to you legally what's wrong with this application from Bishops Lodge. Why is this so problematic, and why you should be concerned about what's wrong with it. Because it doesn't just affect you, but it affects the way we're governed and how we're governed. The second speaker tonight is very pleased to have Phoebe Sweeney. She's the founder and director of High Water Consultants and a superb hydrogeologist. She's worked in this field for years. Is very knowledgeable about liquid waste disposal, as you'll see, and she's going to tell you why you should be concerned about this as a practical and a physical matter. Not the legal implications of what the lodge is doing, but what the practical implications are for you and your drinking water, for your groundwater, for the water we all depend on in this valley, and why this proposal by the lodge is of such concern. So with that, I'm going to get started, and I'm going to begin by introducing what Tom's going to talk about. I'm going to set the stage for what are we looking at here from Bishops Lodge. So what you have here is a topographical overview of the location of Bishops Lodge. And just to get you oriented, this is Bishops Lodge Road. This is the Little Tesuque Creek. This is Bishops Lodge, and these are the hills and villas. Bishops Lodge and the hills and villas own all of this land, all of this property, and they own it to the south of Tesuque Creek as well. And the hills and villas were developed when Bishops Lodge spun this land off and it was subdivided, and they've put in 83 condos and single-family dwellings up on these hills since about 2015. And there are 49 single-family residences up here and 34 condos on 3 separate tracts of land. So the question is, how is this community handling its waste, the liquid waste that it generates? There are over 1,000 people in this community. And what's their plan, and how did they decide they're going to handle this liquid waste? Well, you're going to find out, and I think we're going to discover in this process, there was no plan. They just got built. And sewer lines were put in, but they apparently were sewer lines to nowhere. And now what we are is they're going to dump that waste. That's the proposal, is to dump it. They're going to dump it in a creek, or they're going to dump it next to the creek in a leach field. They're going to dump it, okay? So here's the plan. We're going to collect the sewage and wastewater from the lodge and those 83 separate properties that I talked about, up in the hills and the villas. Over 1,000 plus people. They're going to partially treat it at an on-site treatment plant that they've built. And then they're going to discharge up to 30,000 gallons per day into a single 2,000 square foot leach field. And that leach field is located right here, immediately adjacent to Little Tesuque Creek, in a flood zone, on 2,000 square feet, 2,500 square feet of property. So now what I'd like to do is ask Tom to come up and tell you, well, from a legal perspective, let's just talk about this from our state's regulatory process. Is there anything wrong with this proposal? And if so, what?